I don't just talk about other people's stuff, I also make my own. Books in particular. To date, I have 4 books you can check out on Amazon. Operation Red Dragon: The Daikaiju Wars Part 1, Occult Mafia, Emerald of Maddox City, and the short story collection Assorted Absurdities, Tales of Kaiju Punk and Other Genres. Hop on down to the description for Amazon links to all 4 books. Enjoy whichever ones you read, and enjoy the video. Well, this could potentially be interesting. We have a Godzilla Analogue horror series starting up. Possibly at least. Now, for those of you who don't know, analog horror is the latest internet original genre that has suddenly taken hold and has become really popular in a really short space of time. The basic idea behind it is that it's kind of like an offshoot of the found footage genre, only instead of somebody going out into the woods with a camera and encountering a witch or a Bigfoot or a UFO or something, instead it's like broadcasts from local news and TV channels or public access, or videotapes that are somehow just not quite right, tourism videos that are somehow revealing that the location that they're advertising is not a normal place, told with a lot of inference and hints at what's going on, almost as if it was made for people who already are aware of things, but since you're coming from it as an outsider, you have to really pay attention and pick up on the clues and piece it all together. And of course the analog element comes in because it's deliberately designed to have a retro feel to it. It's built around VHS tapes, old live broadcasts of television, things like that. It's meant to feel older. It's meant to feel like it's from another time period, but not an ancient time period. Something more recent. Just recent enough that there are still a lot of people out there who would remember that time, but just old enough that to someone who wasn't born in that time, it may as well be a different century. Hence, analog horror. And as with so many things that are brand new and take off on the internet really quickly, you have a few really good standouts and a whole lot of cheap imitations of those things. Well, now we have a Godzilla-themed one on a channel that just went up, apparently, going under the Suitmation trials, with one video so far, simply entitled Instance Number 1, which is what's apparently starting us off on this bizarre little journey. The video itself is only 2 minutes and 14 seconds long, so it wouldn't take you very long to pause this video, open a new window so you can go and watch that and then come back. However, I will say that there's really not too much to analyze at this point in terms of clues about what might be happening, because it literally is just the first video. The basic premise is that through text, it's getting some comparisons to Marble Hornets in addition to other analog horror series like, say, the Mandela Catalog or Gemini Home Video or things like that. The premise is that somebody is sitting down to marathon through the Godzilla series. Starting with the Showa films, of course. He's going to marathon through them from start to finish, but he's specifically watching the old VHS tapes that he happens to have. They were in his family, apparently they collected these things, so he's going to watch it on that format. And when he watched the original 1954 Godzilla, things were pretty normal. The movie's good, you know, and it's all the political, dramatic stuff that you would expect to hear. But when he gets to Godzilla Raids Again, a movie that is very near and dear to us on this channel, something goes crazy. During the second battle between Godzilla and Anguirus, the tape suddenly glitches, and this freaky image appears, and through text starts communicating with him. And that's about all we can say at this point. After that, the tape cuts out, and he just doesn't know what to do after that. He's looking for answers, and he's got the marathon on pause for the moment, because he's not entirely sure what's going on. That's the long and the short of it. Unlike other first videos in a series such as this, we don't necessarily have that much to go on. We don't know if this is just a one-time deal, or what's causing it, or if there's more going on, and if so, what that thing is. We don't really have that many clues at this point. All we have is something anomalous. But is that enough to make it good? Well, maybe. Now, watching this myself, I do kind of get shades of the Godzilla NES creepypasta, which I did a video on a couple of years ago. It's one of my more slightly experimental ones. And if you saw that video, you would know that while I liked certain visual elements of it, like the weird designs of the setting and new creatures that appeared, I wasn't all that impressed with the story because it was just another cursed video game creepypasta. Like, those are a dime a dozen. Cursed media, video game, movie, whatever, creepypasta things, those are pretty common. And this is kind of taking off from that. There's this idea that something is wrong with this tape, and we just don't know what it is. And apparently this is the first time this guy has ever encountered this sort of problem. I think part of the disconnect I had with the Godzilla creepypasta was that there wasn't really any reason for it to be Godzilla. When you got right down to it, there just wasn't any. It could have been any video game, any old side-scrolling video game from the 80s potentially could have had this attached to it. And the choice to have it attached to Godzilla, sure, it was different from, say, Legend of Zelda, or Mario, or Final Fantasy, or whatever, but again, there wasn't really anything special about it. You couldn't really say, oh, this is the reason it was attached to Godzilla, at least not that I can remember. Now, this channel started off with the idea of this happened during a Godzilla movie, and the channel itself is called the Suitmation Trials. Suitmation, of course, is the technique that was used to bring these kaiju to life, a technique that most of us still prefer even in an age of digital CGI and whatnot, that technically looks more realistic, but just doesn't have the same feel as those old suits. And that leads me to think that there must be some reason deeper than just saying, oh, I'm going to make an analog horror series, but it's going to have a coat of paint that makes it look like Godzilla, when in fact it's just something generic. Instead, the implication here is that there is some sort of plan, that there's some sort of reason why it's Godzilla specifically. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Again, with just this first video, there's really nothing much more to go on, but we'll see. Again, given that this is only the first video, we don't have that much to go on. But the hints are all there that there is something else to it. That there is a reason why this is connected to the Godzilla videos. And part of the reason I hope that's the case is because, well, the thing is, setting it up as being connected to Godzilla does bring with it a certain expectation. Let me put it this way. I would hate to find out that Godzilla is simply being used as bait to draw in a particular crowd to something that otherwise may have gotten overlooked because there was really no reason to give it a first glance anyway. I'm really hoping that this is going to be something more. It has the potential, it's got that unsettling feel, it's very well put together for the most part. Like, the text has a lot of typos in it, but, you know, that can be corrected as time goes on. And there's enough skill of making it look authentic here that as it progresses, things can potentially get more elaborate. I'm going to keep an eye on it at least. So I thought I'd point people towards it, see if it can get a little more attention, because I'm trying to be the sort of person who doesn't view other YouTubers and other authors and whatnot as competition. I'm trying to help support other people who are trying to get out there and be entertainers, be storytellers and things like that. So anyway, when did that change? That's probably nothing. Anyway,
Congratulations, you reached the end. If you enjoyed this video, you might want to consider supporting us on Patreon. Of course, the other way to support us is to go to Amazon and check out our books, Operation Red Dragon, The Daikaiju Wars Part 1, The Occult Mafia, Emerald of Maddox City, and Assorted Absurdities, Tales of Kaiju Punk and Other Genres. Also check the description for links to DeviantArt and other platforms we operate. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.